Hello, World War One and Two. World War One and Two, also known as the Great War. What caused the first devastating World War? You may be aware of the assassination of Archduke Frank Ferdinand. This was, in fact, the trigger that set off from a number of underlying causes. These were militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism, also called the Great War. First World War started in 1914 and ended in 1918. It created conflicts among the major global powers at that time.
Countries.
On one side, there's a triple entente, also known as the Allies, consisting of Russia, France, and Great Britain. And on the other side, there's a triple alliance, consisting of Germany, the Hungarian Empire, and Italy. Although Italy switched sides at the height of the war in 1915, the main cause of this war was imperialism, meaning that all important countries want to take up territories within and out of Europe and the colonies. In that era, in Africa and Asia, for example, and many places where civilization have not arrived yet, each European powers want the wealth and richness from all these places. Also, the Industrial Revolution in Europe have impoverished lots of people, so there were lots of severe social conflicts. All that tension had to explode, and the world exploded with the murder of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. The murder was committed by a Serbian nationalist called the Black Hand in return to the Austrian-Hungarian Empire tent to the other territory. This murder made war commence between Serbia and Austrian-Hungarian Empire. In return, there was a chain reaction. Lots of other countries joined the war. The Triple Entente, made up of Russia, France, and Great Britain. More countries joined them, such as the United States, Japan, and Canada. Germany and Italy, as members of the Austrian Empire, joined the Triple Alliance. And countries like Turkey and Hungary also joined them. From that point on, there were 4 years of more than terrible war with more than 50 million deaths. In Europe, Far East, Africa, and areas in the Pacific, gorgeous cities that had histories. But in the end, the war finally ended. In 1918, with the Triple Entente as the victor, which include France, Great Britain, and the rest of their allies. And that defeat by the Triple Alliance, the bloc was led by Germany, Austria-Hungarian Empire. However, Russia led the war because in their territory there was great revolution. There was great revolution starting in Russia. And between 1919 and 1920, there were various treaties to sign between victors and the defeated had decided. The most important one was the Treaty of Versailles. But sadly, this treaty was the origin of the Second World War. Moving forward, let's look at the causes of the Second World War. First World War was lots of disaster to the world. World War I officially ended when a peace treaty was signed on 29th June 1919. Germany paid reparation funds to help those countries that were destroyed during war rebuild, and was also willing to hand over 25,000 square miles. This put severe strains on the German economy, which was trying to recover from the war. It caused much resentment among the Germans, and this created the Treaty of the League of Nations. But the USA refused to join, which made it severely weak and ineffective. Limits were placed on Germany's military. Immediately, Germany began to break the terms of the treaty. Germany started increasing its armory and militaries. In 1938, Germany invaded Austria, followed by Czechoslovakia. Rather than start another war, Britain and France adopted a peace policy tolerating Germany's action in assurances that it will not continue. Germany signed pacts with Italy, trying to increase their own land that was already invaded. Although Japan was already invading some parts of Asia and refused to join the treaty, Germany signed pacts with other countries to invade Poland, but the following week they invaded Poland. Britain and France told Germany to withdraw its troops, but they refused. So war was declared on Germany September 3rd, 1939. Adolf Hitler, leader of Germany at Second World War. Another character, Winston Churchill, leader of Britain during Second World War. And Charles, leader of France during Second World War. So continuing, we are still going to be talking on the history of Germany, which is still trying to heal from the wounds of the First World War. So talking about Germany, this character, Adolf Hitler. So Adolf Hitler, he went away with lots of their land, with their money, and all the things that his armies could ask for. So there were lots of activities that Hitler was involved with. He was taking a lot of territories, but Britain and France did not approve of all these activities. So Hitler agreed that he's not going to take any more countries. But peace did not last for long. Hitler ended up invading Poland and some allies of Italy. But just a week before, Britain signed an agreement with Poland to invade anyone that is trying to take over their country, which means only one thing: war. In 1939, Britain and France, Australia and New Zealand and Canada declared war on Germany and Italy. For many months, nothing really happened because the Allies placed all their troops behind the wall and were waiting for Hitler to come and attack them, but he never does. The world still wanted to fight Hitler, but Britain had the home guard. So Britain had spies, and some Germans had some home guards. But unfortunately, most of these home guards were not attacked. They just ended up injuring themselves. So the war continued, and there were bombings and killings everywhere. As Britain stayed strong, Germany even became stronger. As Japan, Hungary, and Japan all joined the Axis, which now took over Greece and North Africa. Even when he promised not to invade Russia, he finally invaded Russia. After Japan had attacked US Navy, the Japanese took over Thailand. They took over some countries like Hong Kong and Singapore. Japan even tried to attack Australia after all these other countries they have taken. Here on the map, it looked like Hitler wanted to take over all the world, but the Russians started fighting back. And the Americans did not withdraw the Allies, which means the Germans were now attacked by more troops and sides than ever before. So the war continued and Britain was gaining ground. Now the D-Day. And now Italy's Italian leader Mussolini was overthrown. World War II is finally over when Germany surrenders. Wait, is it over? No, because back over in the East, Japan and the USA are still fighting. The Japanese were destroyed by 2 bombs. The bombs were so big that it destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The bomb in Hiroshima was smaller compared to the big one that was dropped in Nagasaki. So in 1945, after 6 years with 60 million deaths, World War II finally ended. The First World War and the Second World War really created lots of tension and panic in the world. There were diseases, hunger, people died, economies were shattered and bastard. Then we are praying that the world learn to respect each other so that we can all live in peace and harmony. Thank you and see you soon.